A beautiful way to connect, to speak, and to tell the stories of us as African people is poetry. Poetry has existed for a long time, and sometimes within, the academic fields, in our books, and even in our media, we see poetry as something that is quite westernized. But in fact, poetry is something that we have used to tell the stories of our people for a very long time. And today we're speaking about a very particular kind of poetry, speaking about praise poetry. And this is a kind of poetry that allows, the poets of the African people to speak about their tribes, their communities, and individuals from all perspectives, and to, connect their history, the present, and the future of our people. Today we're chatting to Hlayisani Antonette Shiburi, also known as N'wa Jika The Poet. And this is a 35-year-old woman from Madobi in the Limpopo province of South Africa. She specializes in Xitsonga praise poetry and uses poetic moves to inspire and uplift the spirit of young and old. Thank you so much, N'wa Jika The Poet, for joining us this morning. How are you? N'wa Jika, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think my network is breaking.
Okay, all right. That's all right. I think for now we can hear you as long as you can hear us for now. So, tell us a little bit about yourself. You are a Xitsonga poet. Why was it so important for you as a Xitsonga person to use your own language in the form of poetry and art?
Good morning, listeners and presenters. My name is Hlayisani Antonette Shiburi, well known as N'wa Jika The Poet. And then, being a Xitsonga praise poet, I've chosen to recite my poems in Xitsonga because of I wanted to make sure that my roots doesn't die. Because a lot of youth, they don't know where they do come from. But I'm trying by all means to rebuild our tribe or our language, or to uplift our language.
It's so powerful what you're doing. Where did you learn it from? Because most of us in the later generations, as we actually move on with our lives, we become more urbanized, we forget about these beautiful traditions. Where did you learn about praise poetry?
Okay, thank you so much, Present. What I can say, I learned poetry after COVID-19, after losing my job in 2020 due to COVID-19. It's whereby I've discovered this talent on me of praise poetry or spoken word poetry. So no one taught me. I just taught myself to be a poet.
Yeah. Well, N'wa Jika, what is praise poetry? Because there's so many different kinds of poems. I can write a poem, but it doesn't mean that that's praise poetry. So what makes praise poetry in particular different from other kinds of poetry?
Okay, praise poetry is whereby you are given a chance to praise someone. It can be a president, your mother, or anyone. Praise poetry, you mostly speak about the particular person. And then spoken word poetry is whereby you speak what is inside your heart. It's got a lot of emotions. Like, let's say I'm talking about death, and
Mm-hmm.
death is, I can't say that talking about death is praise poetry. I'm talking about spoken word poetry. It's whereby a poet keep out the emotions inside her or him.
Yeah. And when you're speaking about praise poetry, you're saying this is when you praise a particular individual. How does this connect knowing about this person's history and all the things that they've done, and what makes them so wonderful to be praised in that particular poetry?
In most cases, let's say I'm booked to praise maybe a President Ramaphosa. What I would request from whoever booked me is the background of our of that particular person. That his or her background, it can give me the structure of my poem, how it should be.
I love that. And that's so important because where I'm trying to get through with this is that praise poetry does really tell a story about the history of not just the person, but the
Yeah.
history of that person's people as well. So if you were to praise, anybody like you mentioned, and you have to get to know their history and who they are, is that a form of preserving Xitsonga history for you?
Yes, it is a form of preserving a Xitsonga history.
And how exactly do you do that? Because you might not know the person in person. You might not know them personally, and you just have to use the information you get. What is your process like? How are you able to tell the history of this person and speak about them so eloquently and beautifully through your poetry?
I don't know how to stop the calls because they're calling me just now.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, but you're still here. You can just continue. You
Just
don't
continue.
have to.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. So, did you hear my question?
No, please repeat the question.
Okay, sure. So I'm asking you, when you are getting information about this particular person, how are you putting together their history, but also what they do in their present to put together your poem? So tell us about the process of creating a praise poem for that individual.
Okay, the process of creating that such poem for that individual. Firstly, you will have maybe to write about the history of the person, and then maybe in conclusion, it's whereby you praise him using his clan name or clan surname.
That sounds very unique. But now I'm going to put you to the test. Now I want to hear this praise poetry that you're talking about. Give us a sample, man, because the more you speak about it, it sounds very exciting. So can you give us a little bit of maybe a poem that you've written? It doesn't have to be in English. Hopefully it's not in English, but it can be in your own language.
Okay. Ndzi pfumelelani ndzi tiphata mina muphati wo phatela ku phatunula ndza mi losa n'wina maAfrika mina N'wa Jika The Poet tshembe wa Africa Hlayisani Antonette Shiburi ndzi n'wana makhosani wa mdun'wazi wa Xitsonga wa mbona wa majoko mavhabaza wa ntamela hi va ka xivuri xa makhombo na mangawa va tiviseko letikulu ta makhekenene hi va dyi va vongwe hi ku chava ku rima hina hi va ka xibakele ku Xitsonga hata ndzi rhoko je ka ntombi ya ka mahatlani eribyeni ndzi vula mhani n'wana beni wo gabazana bandzana mateki wa nkuleni va ka thevana xirhangana va lava horiwa sisi wa ncaka lavo davuka le eSwatini va kuma thewani Limpopo ehansi ka masipala wa Collins Chabani le ka Madobi le hi laha xinkavana xa N'wa Jika xi nga tshana no seleteriwa kona swigego swisasi swithathelo swivuriso na swivulavulelo i swakudya swa N'wa Jika swa siku na siku
Wow, that's so beautiful. Well, we're going to take a bit of a break. That's wonderful. And I love that because it gave us a demonstration of what you do, because it sounds so musical. It sounds like music more than just poetry, but also there's linkages of different root systems, where people come from, who they are, where we're going. You also made references of a community like the continent of Africa. So, praise poetry is so, so beautiful. It's not just about you saying something that is just about telling a story, but it's also musical. And I love that display because it just shows who we are on our African continent. In fact, we're asking a question on this theme. What form of art speaks most powerfully to preserving culture and telling our stories? Maybe you heard that poem and you're like, I wonder if it's just praise poetry that tells our heritage in an accurate way. Be part of that poll that we have on our X handle at Channel Africa One. We want you to also engage in the conversations we have here on Channel Africa.
Africa, meet Abedi.
Yeah, that's me.
Abedi is a music lover through and through.
I really love African music.
He's got a taste for all kinds of tunes and spends his days listening to Channel Africa. Guess what? He didn't know.
Okay.
Channel Africa wants to help Abedi and all music lovers everywhere to discover even more incredible music. That is why Channel Africa is calling on all African musicians to submit their music. Musicians, remember to give us all your relevant information. Make your submissions at music@channelafrica.co.za. Submissions are your chance to be heard on radio. But sadly, they do not guarantee that you'll be playlisted. All submissions will be carefully reviewed to see if they meet our station's requirement. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Step into the heart of the day on the move with Palesa and Benjamin.
Oh man, so much fun today. We just heard some praise poetry from N'wa Jika The Poet, a 35-year-old praise poet from the beautiful Limpopo province of South Africa. She specializes in Xitsonga praise poetry, using poetic narratives to inspire and uplift the spirit of the young and old. We know that storytelling is not only weaving in our culture, but also our community and also our heritage. N'wa Jika, is it easy to be a poet? Because it seems like you do this professionally.
I can't say that it's easy because it needs a lot of work. You must be creative when you are a poet.
Yeah.
And being a poet or being in the art industry, you must be always ready. Because mostly in the government events, they can call me today on Friday and say tomorrow you are booking me for tomorrow. So you must always be ready for such things.
Yeah. And how do you get the word across in terms of people knowing about you, what you do? Because we once had a conversation about poetry, and it seems like a lot of people are not known who do this kind of work. How do you get the word out there about yourself?
What I can say is that the power of social media. Never stop or never get tired of posting your work or whatever you're doing on social media. Because remember, we engage with a lot of people through social media. So don't care about the likes, but the views and those who share your work. I believe that, let's say, maybe 2 or 3 people share my work. It's reached a lot of people. I think I have more than 90,000 followers. So I know when I post something,
that's great.
It's gonna reach a lot of people, because most of the gigs that I get, it's not like I know those people, but then they know me through social media. So the power of social media.
Yeah. You know, one thing that I also noticed about you, N'wa Jika, and I think it's something that resonates with a lot of Xitsonga people, is that there's a very strong sense of community, and you have built your own community in poetry, trying to uplift others who want to be within the poetry space, but also making sure that, you know, all forms of art that are a part of the Xitsonga community are uplifted and praised. Tell me about that. Is that something that you do intentionally to make sure that you build a community that allows everybody to thrive in that ecosystem?
Thank you so much. You know what I normally do, since sometimes to engage with people, you must go visit those communities, because there are a lot of people who want to start, but they don't know how. So I normally go engage with people in different communities. I think I've visited more than 50 primary and secondary schools in South Africa, trying to engage with them, trying to motivate them. Like I normally say that not everyone will benefit from education, but I'm not saying that people mustn't get educated. I'm a qualified electrician by profession, but what put the food on the table for me today is the poetry that I'm doing today.
Wow, that's so interesting. Okay, we are going to say goodbye, but Mina, I'm enjoying this. You know, I'm going to put you to the test one more time, just a short one this time, just a way to say goodbye to us. But before you do it, tell us where people can find you on social media and where they can actually book you for shows.
Okay, people, they can find me on all social media platforms. It's N'wa Jika The Poet. All my profiles, I'm wearing my regalia, Xitsonga tradition. Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, N'wa Jika The Poet. And then if they want to book me telephonically, they can contact me on 063 854 2812. 063 854 2812. And one last piece of my poem. It's very short.
Okay.
Titled Victory It's Yours. Never fail to try. If you want to achieve success in life, never ever give up. How much ever you have strived, your strong spirit will help you achieve your goal one day. It will make you to realize your right role. So never give up. Real success, it's when you strive for what you want. When you have that guts to float, not thinking about the world and the wise, when you can alone suffice with your right will and determination, where finally you reach your destination, real success is hard to find, but it's one of a kind. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Very
That
encouraging,
is
very encouraging.
and beautiful and a great way to end the interview. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope that a lot of people learn from you, especially when it comes to praise poetry, because we still need these, authentic African forms of poetry and art to be alive. And you're one of those people that are keeping them alive. So thank you so much for coming to On the Move today.
It's a pleasure, presenters and the listeners. Thank you so much.
That is N'wa Jika The Poet, giving us some great poetry and praise poetry right here on the Move.